Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us again this week for the Clearing Waivers podcast. I am your host, Josh Kaiser. Thanks for coming by. We have a kind of a special episode this week. We got a guest / OG host with us, Adam Summer, kind of stuck with us, kind of started us on this mission with us. But we brought him back for Rance's absence. Thought it'd be a good week to have him back with baseball starting up. But Summer, thanks for coming, man.
Hey, it's good to be back, America. I think we did, a couple of dozen of these things back in the fall.
There was a bunch of them that didn't see the light of day, at least not to many people.
No, the test episodes, running microphones, different headphones, figuring out how to do this stuff. No, we had a good time, and I've stayed active with you guys on the chat and been looking into the episodes, so I understand your games, your shenanigans, and
shtick.
Of course, the Sing Pisters made recall last week. You started hearing some drops that I've been laying down in my sweet studio space here behind me. So good to be back. Yeah,
you kind of went off, started your own little project there with the political podcast Heartland Pod. Let's do it for a couple of episodes. They kind of focus on more of like local politics a little bit more. But what can you tell us about that bad boy?
Yeah, it's called the Heartland Pod. It's part of an organization called Heartland Strong. We're a grassroots political movement. It's a kind of a progressive angled on the issues. We're not really party specific. We're issue specific. Environmental, healthcare, education, things like that. And then, I'm an attorney by trade. I'm a political scientist before that. And so I just kind of dive deep with that. I've had some guests on. I've had a science teacher, some folks running for Congress. I've got an upcoming episode on with another teacher talking, and she's a political activist. So it comes out Mondays and Wednesdays, Heartland Pod. It's everywhere you can find this podcast. You can also find that one.
Yep. I listened to the science teacher episode. Was really, really good, really thought-provoking, trying to figure out what exactly is going to happen when kids are going to start potentially going back in the fall. But I definitely recommend the podcast in general, but specifically that podcast because it is very interesting. A lot of people that listen to us have kids that are potentially going to be affected by this. And I did listen to the Oglesby episode and interview today, which was really, really good. So
thanks, man.
Check out all the Sing Pisters. Go check out the Heartland Pod. You said it's a political movement. It's not a moment. It's a movement.
Not a moment. It's a movement.
Shout out Hamilton. But it's like 4 weeks in a row we did it.
Oh, my God.
Unbelievable. We did it again, baby.
I'll never throw away my shot. So can do this all day.
It's a streak, and we're still living it. So shout out Hamilton again. Brian is with us again. Brian, how's your week?
Oh, it's good. Took some vacation this week. Even though we're not able to go anywhere, it's nice to not be staring at a computer screen all day. So just been getting some projects done around the house and lounging and spending some time with kid. And that's about all that's been going on with me.
Yep. It's not vacation time. It's a staycation.
That's right.
It's not bad at all. I will, because we work together, and I will tell you that it is much better to not be at work. Guaranteed. Living your best life. Also joining us again this week is Kitty. Kitty, how was your week?
Pretty good. Same old yet again. Just, more golf on the weekends and all that. And as we record this, it's my birthday tonight. So
yeah, it is.
Another year older. Made it one more year around the sun. All right. Good for me.
So all the Sing Pisters go give Kitty a shout out on the Twitters and the Facebook. Give him a happy birthday shout out. I'm sure he'd love it. I mean, I asked him if he was really sure he wanted to record it on his birthday. He said, absolutely. I love you guys. This is the best thing I've ever done in my life. So why not just jump right in?
Well, you knew we were having OG host night. So
that's pretty much verbatim with what I told Josh. There you
word
go.
For word. Got it right here on my screen. P.S. I love you. It's real
like
thoughtless
David
on
Cassidy
your birthday.
Song.
That's right. So, we're going to get rolling on the week this week. We're going to clear the waivers. We got baseball back. We had a really strong opening day weekend that from a Royals perspective, it was, pretty high and pretty lows. We had a little bit of everything there. As we talk right now, they're losing 5-4 to the Tigers, but last night was an absolute barn burner. So we'll talk a little bit about the opening day weekend, and then naturally on a Monday, we all got a case of the Mondays, and some of us got a case of the COVID Mondays. The Miami Marlins are potentially going to be the first ones to really kind of figure out how to cope with a lot of outbreak within the team. So we'll talk a little bit about that, how that's going to affect things moving forward, and how that's going to change our outlook about sports in the fall and how that's all going to go. But that's for Clear the Waivers, and we're going to jump into the Waiver Wire waiting game, the Waiver Watch waiting game. I'm sorry. We had some sync pitchers ask us why we're not doing that anymore, so we're bringing it back for you guys. Also the Waiver Wire, and then, of course, the Waiver Watch. So let's get into it here. Like I said, MLB weekend started up this last weekend. The Royals dropped 2 games out of 3 to the Indians. Then they went into Detroit last night and put up an absolute just an offensive juggernaut type of showing. But so that brings them at 2-2. And tonight they got a little bit of a game going on with the Tigers. But the pitching staff's kind of a little bit of a mess right now. So, Brian, I guess where are you at on the Royals opening day weekend, and what did you kind of learn from that so far?
My 2 biggest takeaways so far from it has been that they're not quite as committed to Nicky Lopez as they kind of talked all offseason.
Mm-hmm.
He was in the opening day lineup, and I think he's been out of the lineup the last 3 games. And to my knowledge, there's no injury or any reason he wouldn't be available to play. I think when we had that trade occur, we internally here kind of thought Brett Phillips would be the odd man out now with Franchi coming in and Bubba having a hot spring camp, summer camp. But Mav has been in there the past couple nights and actually hitting the ball well. And
yep.
I got to say, I don't hate the approach of playing Witt more at second base, because I think second base defense is kind of overrated anyway. And if you get the chance to have Witt just play second base and do it really well defensively and be able to hit, and then you have a guy in center field, whether it's Bubba, Franchi, or Maverick Phillips, you're going to get borderline elite defense in center field. And we've seen how that pays off as Royals fans through the years. So I don't hate the approach. I just feel like I was kind of lied to about how committed they are to Nicky Lopez being his breakout year and everything.
Yep.
And then the second point is so far, I mean, it's super small sample size, but Michael Franco has looked really good at the plate, and he's crushing the ball, had 2 homers yesterday. Doesn't really look fooled all that much so far. So that's really, I mean, best case scenario for the first 3 or 4 games to see from him, as someone that Dayton kind of took a shot on as having a bounce back year. Philly kind of gave up on him, and so far it's been best case scenario, but it's really early, and he's been known to be a streaky guy anyway.
Sure.
So, I mean, he could go a week without a hit, and he might be hot for a week. So
yep.
It's been promising, I think, to see Michael look so good at the plate.
Yep, I agree. Kitty, what did you think of this last weekend of, I guess, opening day or just all MLB in general?
It was just great to have it back. I mean, as much as I enjoy watching soccer on the weekends for Premier League and that, it's just not the same as getting baseball back on my TV screens.
Yep.
It's
Soccer's
just something better.
Done at like 11 a.m.
Yeah, it's also done by noon. So I got told maybe do something else. So having a 6-hour, 8-hour straight of baseball is always a good day when that comes back. So great having that back. Just, I mean, as good as Franco looked, that's probably almost as bad as Mondesi's looked to start the year.
Not great.
He's just struggling hard at the plate. So, I mean, and then also with the pitching staffs already seems to be stretched thin on the bullpen, getting overworked with losing Keller and Junis before the year even began for however long they're going to be out. It's just could be rough for this pitching staff. That's why you keep seeing them. They keep flipping relievers in and out just to try to get fresh bodies so they can have some guys that can pile up some innings here and there. So it's been a rough start for those guys.
You could probably blame that luck on me and Brian, because we've been asking for this type of strategy for like the last 2 years. I think we both harped on it at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, so much piggybacking already. First 4 games of the season.
It's tough to see that. And then today they put Foster Griffin and Mike Montgomery on the DL or on the IL. Sorry. So so they're down to Duffy, who went 4 1/3 in that first game.
Sounds right.
Things went right around there. Yeah.
And then Brady Singer is good. Yeah, Duffy looked fine. I mean, that Indians lineup is really, really good. Singer in his debut last week looked really, really good. I believe he went 5 innings. But yeah, I was pretty encouraged by how that goes. But now, I mean, I think Keller is getting close, and Junis, I believe, is getting close as well. So I think we just got to tread water until that happens, and then we're going to keep seeing the Jorge Lopez's and the
Mhm.
and Sparkmans and all those fun people.
Some of the
getting
guys
marched down.
Yeah, some of the guys you don't want to see
Right.
eat up innings because you know what's going to happen when they are eating up innings. So
Yep.
it'd be nice to see them out of
Jesse Hahn's going to be back eventually too. He went on bereavement right before the season started. I think his mom passed away, so I think eventually he'll be back as well. And then we'll be back to having too many mediocre pitchers. But Summer, you're a big Cards guy. I guess where were you at this last weekend on MLB being back?
I mean, it's great. I'm with you guys that any baseball is good baseball, and I wore my Missouri hat.
You're all about unity.
We had a good debate last night about some Cards versus Royals attitudes.
Even a Cubs fan jumped in there.
We have a good time with anytime the Cubs fan has a chance to chime in. They had a good year that one year, but it's good because it's there. And I think I sent you guys a video of my 5-year-old son, he's a baseball junkie. And the first time a game was coming on, it wasn't even the regular season game yet. And he was sitting there and just very quietly just singing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game." Yeah. It's just like, just tugs at your heartstrings.
Absolutely.
Just so happy to see it back. And, the Cards are 2-1. They kind of, the Royals and the Cards kind of look like they're going to have similar years this year where that both teams have enough to do it, but can they, is the pitching going to be there to keep them in games long enough? Waino looked good over 5 innings.
Yeah.
Which cool. It's like a free season for him.
What in the hell? Like Wainwright, he's like 58 years old and he's still throwing. He's got no Achilles. He's got no knees. I mean,
well, it helps to be 6'7", 245 or whatever. Like
he's Chris Young.
If he can still get his right hand over his shoulder, he can throw probably 85. Yeah. And then as long, if you can keep snapping it off, 74, 12-6. Good luck, fellas. So
why not? Yep.
They look okay. Martinez is on the mound tonight for them. He's back from his stint in the bullpen the last year and a half or so. So we'll see.
Which I didn't realize until that inter-squad game with the Royals that he turned into more of a junk baller than he is. I mean, that was completely lost on me. And he's got some filthy stuff.
He always had the slider that was just like, if you were a right-handed batter and you could stay in the box long enough to swing at it, good for you, because it looked like it was coming right at your head, and then it would be at the feet of the catcher by the time it got there. It's just disgusting. When he's on, he's unhittable, but when he's not on, that slider is flat.
That's the one thing about the junk ballers is they'll start looking juicier and juicier as further into the game as you get. So
that's right.
Maybe he'll stay in the rotation, maybe not, but we'll see about that. Keep an eye on it. But yeah, like we said, the Royals and Cardinals kind of have the same build at this point.
They're very similar,
I mean, and especially with the 60-game season, anything can happen. This is a March Madness type of thing. Any team can go down and at any given moment. And it just happened to be the Marlins this time. But that could happen to anybody. So anything could happen in this weird season. And, I mean, right out of the gate. We had 3 days, and then the weirdness started. But before we get into that, let's talk a little bit about – Brian and I have kind of noticed a little bit, and Kitty, you probably have too, the differences. There's pretty stark contrast between Mike Matheny and Ned Yost, just the way they do things. I mean, like to Brian's point about Nicky Lopez, that seems like a Ned move to completely run with his guy. He's a player's manager type of thing. Matheny's turned analytical over the summer, and now it seems like he's a pretty solid conduit between the analytic part of it and the old school baseball type of thing, because he's got the brain for both. Summer, you do have quite a bit of experience with Matheny, but I guess in your experience of Matheny with the Cards, where's your head at on Matheny?
So, as soon as they hired him, I told you guys, like, congratulations, you're going to be
more of the same.
Yeah, more. He's a tinkerer. He seems to have not a very good feel for, which is ironic because he was a catcher. He doesn't seem to have a really good feel for the timing on when to change pitchers. He likes to make changes. It's the when to make the changes. And with the lineup, you're going to see – I think across the MLB we're going to see a lot of lineup changes just because of the nature of what's going on.
They got 30 guys to run through it right now.
Right. But even in Matheny's last full season, I mean, it would be a fun exercise. Go back and just look at his lineup cards, especially, day in and day out. Guys are going up and down the ladder. There's just all kinds of changes across the board. There's no continuity with what's going on.
Yeah.
It's not like not just to the, like any baseball fan, you watch a lot of baseball, April, May, it starts to taper off a little bit. Summer gets a little bit going. You kind of, maybe you miss a few games and then you look back at TV and you're like, who the are those guys? and
especially the Cardinals. The Cardinals that's their MO. They just find a random white dude that's all of a sudden hitting 320.
That's right. And yeah, Tommy Edman pops up and you're like, who is this guy?
Like, who the hell is that dude?
He can hit and he can play third and second and
rip bags
too. Cool.
Yep.
So, he's a tinker. That's what he's going to do. He's definitely different from Yost in that aspect. We've talked about that in the chat. And
yep.
It is what it is. I don't think he's a bad manager. I think you guys got a solid manager, for the Royals. But it'll always be interesting.
Hey, that's fine. It was pretty predictable and all the more frustrating for it when it was Ned Yost. So, plus Matheny's dreamboat. I mean, he is a handsome fella.
Yeah,
I just
like
covered up.
LL Cool Mike, man.
It's true. I mean, that's the worst thing. That's the worst thing to happen in COVID is they had to cover up Matheny's face. I feel comfortable saying that.
He's
going to rob a bank.
Yeah.
Wild
Kitty,
West.
what have you noticed about Matheny? I guess at this point.
Well, for what I thought who he was before the season and to who he's become, where he's putting in the closer in the fifth inning or whatever, it was kind of a shocking thing to see there. I didn't expect that at all, because there's so many managers that, all right, this is my closer. He only pitches a ninth inning.
Yep.
And that's it. Never comes in before or after.
Yep.
And if if you're the visitor, he only comes in if you got a lead. Don't pitch him in a tie game.
Mm-hmm.
Do all this. And so it's interesting to see a big deviation from that by bringing in the guy who probably your best reliever at this point, maybe not, but right up there to bring him in early in the game. It's kind of interesting to see.
And that's new, by the way. He didn't used to do
that.
Right.
That's right. That's what I thought. So it's kind of apparently that class he took at the Learning Annex about sabermetrics really paid off for him.
Stuck in the Learning Annex.
I mean, pretty impressive for him. I don't know how much stock to put into that, if that's a good or bad thing, because I don't know how much the players want to do that or dislike or like getting their role shifted about every game. So that's kind of a 6 of one, half dozen the other. But it's good to have a great pitcher come out early to stop the bleeding or keep a team from scoring runs. But then if these guys don't like to be pulled out of the ninth if they're a closer or the normal eighth inning guy.
And that, I think it immediately rubbed Duffy a little bit the wrong way, and he was more like at the end of the game. He was more like, "Well, it is what it is. I'm just there to do my job, and if he pulls me, he pulls me." And then I thought Matheny did a great job coming out and kind of justifying it, being like, "This is why I did it. This is why I did it at this point, and this is what I was thinking." I mean, it just with the Barlow pulling, it didn't necessarily work out because they got the ground balls that they wanted for the double play. They just found holes. So, I mean, it looked like a move that would have worked if it just didn't at that time. So. It's certainly a different angle for sure. But Brian, where have you seen the differences between the two of them the most?
I think you've all covered it pretty well. The one thing I think when you guys talked about that Duffy thing, and I think a lot of fans were frustrated with that move, pulling him, and he was visibly, upset. Mm-hmm. He didn't hide it well. Didn't really come out of the game, and he didn't understand why he'd come out of the game. And then afterwards, Matheny kind of gets into, well, this season's different and we're trying to win every game, and every game means that much more. So if I see I need to make a move, I'm going to make a move. So I'm like, okay, cool. I get it. We got all these pitchers to play with. If you're seeing him kind of fall off and not be as effective, go to someone else. That's cool. I get it. And then we get to game 3, and game 3 saw multiple backups playing in the starting lineup. And I got frustrated because you're going to tell me this pitching staff we're going to treat special and play every game to win it. Well, we got backups playing the third game of the season when these guys don't need a break.
Yep.
And so I think that gets back into more what Summer was talking about, just being the ultimate tinkerer. And we continue to see it, even if it's messing guys around in the lineup up and down. Soler's in the 2-hole now because he's looked bad for 3 games, so we're going to move him in the lineup.
Yeah.
You're getting backups in there. You're getting Mav playing back-to-back days. It seems like if you look bad at the plate for a game, you're probably not playing the next game.
Yeah.
And as we've talked about, that is not hashtag Yoasted. Ned
It's the
Yost
exact
not at all.
opposite.
put Escobar at leadoff
Ride or die.
when it didn't make any freaking sense, and he just stuck with it, almost just to like spite us, I think, because
Yeah.
the entire fan base is like, "What are you doing?
What is
That
happening
can't
right
hit."
now?
And he's like, "Wait till you see tomorrow's lineup." So, I mean, ultimately I'm down with the new approach here. I do like using the analytics, the shifts, although they frustrate Duffy when it doesn't work, when it looks like you got your tailor-made double play and they're playing the numbers in the shift, and it's frustrating to watch that. But then you see tonight Witt just rob an absolute rocket up the middle. It should have been a double that got saved, and it was ended the inning, got him out of trouble. So you got to pay attention to the good and the shifts and the bad if you're going to focus on just the bad. So I'm
there is
mostly
such a
down for
thing
it.
as
Let's
like getting in too much into your own head type of thing.
Yeah.
And I think there's a fine line between that, and you're really not going to know that until it worked or it didn't type of thing. So the one thing that I kind of was a little bit frustrated with this is the fact that, they knew Sunday was going to be a bullpen day. So they threw Bolaños out there, which I was impressed by him. I thought he did well in his 2 innings of work. Did get in a little bit of a jam and got out of it. But then he brought in like Jorge Lopez. And then the next day they knew that Montgomery was going to be pitching. And I'm going to guess that they thought he was going to give you more than 2 innings. But then you follow him up with Foster Griffin. So, I mean, which was cool. And he did really good before he got injured, which sucks, by the way. But you have 2 soft tossing lefties, and then you have a bunch of guys in your bullpen. And then you could have contrasted those guys with the Jorge Lopez's and the Bolañoses. And it just seems like that could have been a little bit further worked in. But like Brian said, I'm kind of in on this commitment to do things a little bit differently in order to win this really weird season with the expanded playoffs. Everybody's got a shot. So I'm totally in on what he's done so far. I can nitpick and be a Monday morning quarterback type of thing. But at the same time, like it's kind of hard to complain about anything at this point. We're 4 games in. So, that's kind of, we'll kind of put a bow on the Matheny talk and the Royals talk in general. But seemed like another hot topic with this MLB opening weekend was the fake crowd noise and the CGI fans. I wanted to quickly get your guys' thoughts on this. You guys in or out on all these fake stadium experiences?
And
I like the crowd noise. I mean, I don't even think I've heard a baseball game without any fake crowd noise pumped in, so I don't know how exactly weird that would really sound. So I'm
the College World
okay
Series.
with. No, there you go. I'm okay with having the crowd noise pumped in. So, and I actually like seeing the teams that have put the cutouts in the stands. I like those a lot too. This is fun.
Love the
It's funny to see. So that's good.
I'm totally down with the cutouts and the crowd noise. It is fun to watch different games, different host stadiums. Some of them are really good at it, and some of them are all right.
Shout out to the Cubs, man. Their
Cubs
crowd
had
noise
a
guy is really,
on-point,
really
man.
good.
I haven't watched them yet, so I didn't see that.
We
Yeah.
saw
They're-
that picture going around Twitter the other day of the stuffed bears in the
Yes, all
outfield
the,
in
that's good.
Oakland.
Yeah.
I'm all in for stuffed bears.
Yeah.
Throw them everywhere.
Let's get goofy with it. Do some good causes. It can be a lot of fun. Make it a charity.
Raise some
thing.
money. Raise some
Yeah.
money by putting cutouts in seats and all like that. Yeah.
Exactly.
We saw a first dog picture take one off the dome, which was really funny to me.
I heard someone else had a good idea. You, if you're the home team, you find out, kind of get some intel on the opposing team and put up some cutouts of like ex-girlfriends and stuff like that behind the plate.
Yes.
Behind
I like that.
ex-girlfriend, mother-in-law, stuff like that. There you go.
I mean,
Put
at this
that behind the
point,
plate.
just try to get any of that try to regain any of that home field experience or home field advantage. The Indians fake crowd had a air horn in it.
Right. Well, I'm wanting to have I want the fake crowd noise that's got the guy that you hear about once every couple of innings. You hear that it's off in the distance. I want that guy in the crowd noise. And I want to
Absolutely.
see the first team to fill the stands, which is clowns.
Oh, I don't.
Oh,
I mean,
that's
just give me clowns.
I'm a hard out
That's
on
an
that.
interesting move. I like that one a lot too. I'm in.
I mean, they got to do like the the take your dog to the park day like they usually do.
Yeah, they
That
should
seems to
have
be
one where you got
baked
just
in.
all dogs everywhere. That'd be a
Yeah.
good move.
Some of those have like all sections. Like Brian was talking about, the A's have all sections of dogs, and I think the Royals have
Oh, they still
theirs
do.
too.
Right? Okay.
Yep.
You could do a lot of the the basketball stuff. You could have free range
Oh, yeah.
chicken night. Just let some chickens out. Anybody there?
Get some goats out there.
Yeah.
I mean,
Why
Oh,
not?
clear up the outfield.
absolutely. The
We've seen
Royals
that
field
happen
crew,
in
yeah.
Cleveland before, where those pigeons just take the outfield, or the seagulls, or whatever the hell.
Rat
they
with
are.
Yeah.
wings.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. Or you have there's a couple times in San Diego they've had bees take over the field.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember seeing that a couple times.
It's always a fun spring training thing for the Royals. Is when are the bees there?
Yep.
But yeah, I think we're all in on whatever can make this weird season a little bit more normal, and I just don't understand anybody that has a strong
Yeah.
opinion about either. I just
And have you
save your
guys
outrage,
had that
man.
moment where the game is on and you start doing the baseball thing where like you're doing stuff, but baseball's
yeah.
on,
Yep.
and you don't even realize it. You're just
Yep.
like, oh yeah, I just thought it was the game. Like
I
it
finally
doesn't-
finished putting the toilets in, and I had the Royals on in the background. Fake noise was, I mean, just like a normal day to me.
Yeah, you just don't even notice.
Right.
That's right.
So we're in on that. But I guess to wrap up the opening day weekend, is it opening weekend or is it opening day? I just stick with
Sure.
opening day weekend.
Oh, works.
Quickly, do you guys have any other standouts? Start with Brian. Any other standouts across baseball?
I like that we almost had a fight between the Cubs and the Brewers in
Yeah.
the second day of the season.
Let's get after it.
They've said that the punishments will be very severe if you get in a fight during a pandemic. So they just started playing their series against each other, so that's going to ratchet it up, I think, as the summer goes. And as they pointed out during the broadcast, that they can hear each other a lot more easily
Oh,
now.
right. You can yell a lot more between benches.
So there's a lot of barking going on. So
Yeah.
we'll see. That may be a continuing storyline this season.
Doesn't even have to be yelling. I mean, I think just talking
Yeah.
normally, you could probably hear pretty good.
Yeah.
Kitty, did you find anything else stand out to you this weekend?
How much Mike Clevenger hated at the fact that the Royals scored top of the 10th inning with the man on second base with no outs.
Amazing.
He was so angry about it. That's not real baseball. Oh, it's phenomenal. The reaction I was hoping for, especially since the Royals scored a run with no hits.
Yeah,
exactly.
no
perfect.
official at
Sack
bats.
bunt, sack fly, and then done.
They had no official at bats that inning, and they won. They scored a run.
That's so good. I love
Good
it.
stuff.
I was-
I mean,
I'm
it's one
all
of
for
those, I
that.
mean, cry me a river,
This-
dick face. I mean, these are
these
the
are the
rules
rules.
that you agreed to. It is what it is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Summer, what about you?
Yeah, mine would be the flip side of that, which is that there's been multiple extra inning games, and only
Yeah.
one team has even bothered to sacrifice bunt.
Small ball, baby.
The guy's on second, man. You've got
It's-
3 outs.
And if you showed me the games that went into extra innings, and I had to pick one of those teams that was the ones that running the small ball, I would 100% get it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It was that's Royals MO.
Oh, yeah.
Well, then when the Indians had their chance in the bottom of that inning after the Royals had scored
Swinging
one, they
for
had
the
first and
fences.
second, no out, and they didn't bunt with their leadoff hitter.
Yeah.
It's like it's just
Yep.
it seems like the perfect time to bunt guy over, get bases loaded by the guys. They're going to walk the next guy. So you have bases loaded with 1 out. You have 2 chances.
Yep.
It's
More-
like
more
punching
than
out from the
likely.
trees. They're all trying to swing a full-blown 5-iron instead of just punching out and hitting.
Who was that?
Exactly.
Was
Yeah.
Cesar Hernandez, Lindor, Jose Ramirez.
Right.
And
Yeah, they would have walked. So they would have walked
Randall?
Lindor if they'd bunted
Probably.
him over. Which maybe not the best take a bat out of his hands. But you still got Jose
Sure.
Ramirez and Carlos Santana coming up next. So
Yep. It was very interesting, and kind
Idiots.
of along those lines. I was just super discouraged to see that there were so many Royals fans already jumping ship. They're already like getting in the asses of these players. I saw shitty tweets. Barlow, Michael Franco, Brett Phillips, McBroom, Bubba Matheny, etc. I mean, they're already jumping on these players, and we're 4 games in now. It is astonishing that I understand all that we have to cram 162 games of outrage into 60-game season. I understand. Just chill, man. We're in late July and the Royals are still in it. They're second in the division right now in expanded
That's
playoffs. They're eligible for the playoffs right now. Right now they're eligible for the playoffs. Why are we already bailing? Just hang in there. Save your outrage. You'll have plenty of time to shoot that off. But just chill. Just chill.
Or
on it for a little
don't.
bit.
Just go on get.
Go
We
on,
don't wanna
get
listen
some.
to
I'm
your
fine
shit
with that
anymore.
too.
It really helps if you multiply the record by 3, because
I mean,
that's what it is. I mean,
right.
in reality, and if you look at it that way and go, oh well, they're really, if they're 3-3, they're actually 9-9. Okay,
81 and
so
81.
right, yeah, you start looking at that, and like for the Royals, 81 and 81. By golly, it's a pretty good year. So
And if there's a year where you're living and dying by one at bat, it's probably this year, because
This is
one at
it,
bat
yeah.
equals a full night of at bats, and it's
Right.
really unfair for the players. And I mean, the Royals are full of bubble players that are just now trying to make their mark, and you're already getting in their asses. Like, just chill a little bit, see what they can do. This is the year where we need to start figuring out who is going to be here for the long haul, and then
Right.
all the rotational pieces are going to start coming up, and then it's go time. So
just be happy they're out there playing.
100%.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're already angry about the player. That's ridiculous.
It's wild. It's wild. The people are just like, so I'm not gonna get into it.
I mean, it was so close to having no season at all. Now they're like, oh,
Well,
this is
right.
to that point, we're not 100% sure we're gonna continue this season
Speaking
because
of no
this
season at all.
Marlins COVID outbreak on Sunday morning just popped up with 3 positive tests to players, and then later that day they had 9 more pop up, and then by Tuesday there were 4 more. So today they made the decision to go ahead and suspend their season until Sunday. Their opponents are going to end up playing each other. It was the Phillies and the Marlins were playing each other. They were in Philadelphia, and so they were worried about potentially the Phillies being exposed to it, as well as the Marlins outbreak. So they're just going to have the opponents of those 2 teams in the upcoming series play each other in Baltimore, I believe. So no games are lost for those 2 teams, but at this point it's going to be very hard to make up a week's worth of games by the end of the season, because they only had 6 built-in off days for 60 days or 66 days, and they only had 6 off days in that. So it's going to be tough to make up those games. But I guess let's start with Kitty on this one. Kitty, where's your head at as far as like moving forward with the rest of the season? How are you feeling about it?
I mean, at least it's contained to one team at this point, because it sounds like the Phillies got tested, and I don't think they had any
I don't think
big
I've
number
seen
of
any
positives or any positive
Yeah,
come back from that. So that's a really good sign.
Yep.
Obviously, you got to worry maybe somewhat about the clubhouse too as well.
Yep.
People going in there. That's why the Yankees we don't want to go in there, or whoever
Right.
was supposed to play the Phillies. Yeah, I'm not going to that clubhouse tomorrow.
No chance in hell.
After 14 cases were just guys were spitting around the clubhouse all afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
So but the thing with but now, yeah, you're like you said, they're losing 6 games this week.
Yep.
I mean, hopefully you can put some guys out for Sunday, but yeah, where do you make these games up? Then you're at that point, are you flying around extra games now? Because you're at 5. Like when you do have those weird schedules in normal season, it's pretty easy to just hop on a plane, go to one city on an off day and make up a game. But now, when you're getting so much worried about travel being the biggest issue with this, with the pandemic, that's got to be hard to make up games. I mean, the only silver lining, it's the Marlins. They're probably going to be terrible. So in about 20 games, they're 5-15. It's not okay. Who cares? They're not going to make up any games. But then you have other teams
coming out, Marlins.
Well, other teams lose 3 games or 2 games also. So then all of a sudden
Yankees,
you have a team with 58 games against a team with 60. Who you got to go percentage? You're going to percentage points.
You got to go percentage, yeah. At that point,
then they're like, well, we just lost 2 games against the Marlins. I mean, we could have won those 2 games. We'd be ahead if we hadn't lost those 2 games. So it's kind of get to a point of how do they decide the standings?
Where do you draw the line?
To a point where you get close, where then one team lost 2 games because a team had a forfeit because half their team got COVID.
Right. And you're gonna have odd numbered games at this point. I think it's inevitable. You can't avoid it. I think it is what it is at this point.
Yeah.
Summer, where are you at on proceeding through this season?
Yeah, of course it was the Marlins. Of course.
The Florida team.
Yeah, well, it was either going to be, it was going to be the Marlins or it was going to be the Mets. Like, that's for sure. The team. That's who it was going to be.
I think that's probably accurate.
I'm glad it went the way it went, because the Marlins. How much cursing do you guys do now on this pod? Can I just go. Just go. The Marlins fucked this up royally.
Yep.
Because the part of the agreement with the MLB was, you got to tell us what's going on. And they knew about this, and they took a vote to play the game.
Right. That one.
Amazing.
Like, what? You pull the plug, folks, because if they had pulled the plug right there, maybe you miss a game or two, you get the test done, but like some of this other stuff maybe doesn't happen. But so the silver lining there is the MLB, if you read the statement today from Manfred, was pretty strong statement about like we're still going forward, but like a reminder of how important the operational structure is.
Right. And fragile.
Guys, yeah, it's super fragile. You guys can't be effing around with this. We got to do it the right way. So I thought that was weird.
There were multiple reports from the Phillies dugout saying like they were noticing how laissez-faire they were about any kind of social distancing or preventative measures. Said they were audibly saying those guys aren't wearing masks. Why are they spitting? Everything. So they just completely threw it out the window. I was wondering going into the season, which of these teams was like, let's cancel the season. F it. Let's go. And I'm starting to kind of think that the Marlins might have been one of them.
I mean, at this point, can you kick the Marlins out of the league in the AL East and NL East situation? They just somehow revamp the schedule for the other teams and try to get them
fine with it.
Get them through this that way.
I mean,
so one team gets a 3 days off every series.
Yeah.
I mean, the rumor is there's a lot of rumors going around, but the rumor I was seeing today was that a lot of Marlins players went to the strip club after the Atlanta exhibition game.
Well, you don't say.
And so if MLB can investigate that and find out who did that, I'm all for them sending a strong message to those players and telling them, get out.
You're like a steroid suspension.
You about cost all these people millions of dollars by going to a freaking strip club before the season even started.
Yep.
And you don't care about this season, so get out. I don't have any problem just saying get lost.
It's a super duper good reminder too that when we're talking about this, the COVID stuff, like you can't divorce it now from anything. We have to. It's got to be part of the conversation.
Part of everyday life.
But when you hear one, it means 10. Like especially in these kinds of settings where like these people are with each other, they're with each other for hours, they're with each other close. I don't care how hard you're trying, your close proximity. If it's there, it's there.
And inside.
Yeah.
You're always inside a building or an airplane. You're always inside something else, so that's going to help the spread even more.
I mean, the airplane might be the only thing to rival a strip club as far as like exposure.
Or a school.
Maybe one of those clubs where you spit in each other's mouths, I think, is probably the only other.
I'm not aware of that club.
Yeah, me neither. I just completely made that up. Don't worry about that. Brian, where's your head at this? Are you kind of always
Joshua.
Oh boy.
This pandemic has given a new meaning to cancel culture. When I came down the stairs Monday morning, I opened up old Twitter, and my God, the sky was falling. People were just left and right. Just cancel the season. Just cancel it. Just cancel it. What are we doing here? And then that quickly moved into just cancel football. Why are we going to play football? They can't do baseball. Why are we just freaking the out? And then I see Jeff Passan go on Pat McAfee show and say that he thinks MLB would be tone deaf if they played games that night.
Yeah.
Other places. It's like, what? This isn't Kobe Bryant dying, dude.
Yes.
This is one team screwing up. It's since come out since last Friday. Every other team has had 0 positive cases in players since last Friday. And they're traveling. They're testing every day. One team screwed up. And I'm so thankful that we had some adults in the room that weren't reacting like Twitter was. Because my God, they wanted to just cancel the season because one team screwed up. And I'm just so happy that, they interviewed Manfred afterwards. They said, did you guys talk about cancel? And he's like, no, we didn't even talk about that. We have protocols in place. We knew there were going to be positives. There were going to be outbreaks. We have things in place. Did they have an emergency meeting? Well, hell yeah, they did.
I love when that news came out and everybody's like, oh, well, that's it. It's happening.
We learned nothing from that PGA thing where like 4 people had an outbreak and then they had an announcement and everyone's like, well, here we go. It's over. It's all over. And that commissioner came out and said, we're going to have to live with this pandemic, guys. We got a plan in place. We got to keep testing. We got to do our tracing and all that good stuff. We have a plan that we all agreed to. So let's please stop freaking the F out every time something happens and want to cancel everything.
Yeah, I think we need to interpret emergency meeting to mean the commissioner of whatever the sport is, because this is going to continue to happen. The commissioner of that sport getting in on a Zoom call with all of the owners and probably the coaches and giving them like the Biff Tannen and just going, hello, think, McFly, think. What are you guys doing?
Yeah,
I mean,
and
Tim
David
Ryder
Price
was
can
the
keep
worst.
his chirping from the sidelines to himself,
Right.
by the way. He came out and said, so once, just like I thought, the MLB doesn't care about the player's safety. And it's like every other team is doing it well.
Right, and also
their positives are way down.
Right.
If it's true that these players went out to a strip club and that's where they acquired the disease, that's not on baseball, dude. They got protocols that say don't put yourself in that position. And by doing that, that's not on baseball to blame and then sit on the sidelines and say, see, I told you baseball doesn't care about you.
Right.
Yep, exactly.
So zip it.
And they still might not, but at least in this perspective, it's not necessarily the case.
Right.
Yeah.
We got
But
the
Jesus,
whole
the world was on
collective
fire
bargaining
Monday
agreement.
morning.
Yes, it was.
Oh,
It's
it
still,
sure
I mean,
was.
I don't think it's out. I mean,
That's true.
I think there's still plenty of people out there that don't like it. So with all that being said, Brian, I'm going to start with you because I think I know where your head's at with this. Does this impact your outlook on fall football, anything kind of coming up from here?
I mean, I think they're still going to try it. The practices are still going on right now in colleges, and their training camps are still planning to proceed as it is. And I think, I mean, we know that the bubble model is working really, really, really well with the NBA and MLS, but they've pretty much already said the NFL, that's not even an option. There's just too many people involved to do bubble option. So they're going to follow more of the baseball, I'd say. And as we just talked about, so far, it's working for baseball if they got guys following protocol. Right. And if you have a team that screws around and doesn't take it seriously, you can have a serious problem. And I think, as Summer pointed out, this is a huge wake-up call, I think, for everybody. That if you're screwing around, you're costing your team not only games, but you're costing the entire league money. So I still think they're going to go for it, and I think it would take a disaster of multiple teams, I think, having huge outbreaks, which is totally possible. But I think the fact that they do testing so regularly, and that's the plan going forward, they can really kind of keep a hold on it as much as you can during a pandemic.
Right.
So I think everybody's wanting to make their money because there's money to be made, and if they just cancel it, nobody gets paid anything. So I think the money's going to overrule everything here, and they're going to push forward with football, and I think baseball will finish it out somehow.
I mean, if baseball's going, hockey's going, MLS is going, NBA's restarting, if those four are going on, you know damn well that football's being played.
Yeah.
Right.
So unless one of those four dominoes fall first and it just the whole house of cards collapses, at that point they might start talking about canceling football. But still,
and
that's a rolling stone.
One other point too, I think we're already seeing that the way they did the regional matchups is really going to be helpful in cases like this, where if the Marlins have to sit out 6 games, they're only playing a handful of teams the whole season. So you can manipulate the schedules and stuff much more than you would if they were playing the entire league. So I think it already is paying off that they split up into regions.
Yep. And the only issue with that is if it was like the Phillies that they're missing out on. I think they're missing out on the Nats coming to town. I think they said they weren't coming. I don't know who the other series is, but if they're like interdivisional games like that, it's going to be even easier because those are going to line up multiple times throughout the year. So you can stack another double header in there somewhere. Yeah.
And they're already showing common sense approach too with these two teams were supposed to play the Marlins. You guys go play each other while you can right now. Yep. And I mean, that stuff just makes common sense. So it's not quite the total huge domino effect of a team having to sit out for a week.
Yep. True story. Summer, Kitty, do you guys have any other points to make on that?
No, that covers it.
I mean, as far as sports going forward with the NFL, for 2020, you know what the base pay is for the NFL for 2020?
For a player?
Yeah. The least amount of money you can make, $610,000.
Yeah, I was just saying,
to play. If you play 16 games in the NFL, you make $610,000. So, I mean, I guess the question is, if somebody told you had to go to Walmart from like 11:30 to 3:30 every Sunday with no mask and stand in like the milk aisle. But if you did that, you got a check for $50,000 every time you did it. Would you do it? And the answer is, fuck, of course I would.
Absolutely.
Are you kidding me? Of course I would do that. I mean, these guys, some of these guys, they play, 3 years as the average NFL career?
Yeah. They got to get that.
Of course they're going to do it. The average pay for the NFL is $2.7 million a year. They're absolutely going to play football. There's no question about it. It's now that other sports have even attempted it. I think if they were the only one and no one else had even tried it, maybe it's a tougher conversation. But basketball's showing that it's going to work. Baseball is showing that it's probably going to work. MLS has been playing for weeks now, and other than only one team has had a real issue. So I think it's probably going to work. I said in the spring and summer, I was on record as saying until a baseball travels 60 feet 6 inches, I don't believe any of it. And it's happened, and it's here. I think college is done. I think college has moved at least to the spring, except for maybe a couple of conferences might play fall ball. But I think for the most part, colleges are done.
The important ones?
Yeah. The SEC might play in the fall.
Okay.
But other than that,
that's fine with me.
I think it's all going to move. But, yeah, the NFL is going to play. And could Keanu Reeves come in and play quarterback for a game because guys are sitting out? I mean, we're seeing players are dropping like crazy, saying, I'm sitting out. So that's going to happen. We know that's going to happen. So we're going to see some replacements. The quality of the games probably won't be as good because of that stuff, but they're going to play.
Mm-hmm. We're still going to get to see Patrick Mahomes, the part owner of the Kansas City Royals now.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
And Ferrari owner, right?
I would hope.
I think it's a Ferrari.
I just
It's,
assume it doesn't that.
Louis Riddick always called him the Ferrari.
Yeah, I think he actually got one today, though. He got a Ferrari and also got an MLB team, which is very interesting. So thank you, Patrick Mahomes. I was talking to my wife before we came up to start recording. I was like, I'm not real sure what he could do right now that could make me love him more. He's done. I mean, he's
Come
done
on the
way
Clearing
more.
Waivers podcast.
Right.
There it is. Good call. Yeah. There's the new goal.
Give you that sultry podcast tone for a few minutes.
Don't make fun of our quarterback, Brian. Just we're trying to get him here.
You gotta wonder when he calls places to get stuff. Like, do they think it's somebody pranking him? No, this is Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Mexico.
Yeah. Come on the Clearing Waivers podcast, Patrick Mahomes, please. We'd love to have you. Open invitation. So yeah, with that, let's jump into the. I didn't do the fun Clearing Waivers. Clear the Waivers theme song by Summer's George Truly. Man.
Woo.
Yep. Drop the ball.
The biggest stories of the week, we're clearing the waiver.
Clearing and have cleared.
I want you to know I recorded that one specifically for BK.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Now it's just the outro. Now transition to Shenanigans.
So yeah, go into the Shenanigans here. So we're going to start with a different game. Like we said, we're going to do the Waiver Watch Wating Game, and it does come with its own theme song. And we haven't played this yet, so it's a first-timer.
Ooh.
Yep. This comes from our sink pisser buddy Rigby once again. See if you guys know this song. I struggle with it, but let's see how in tune you guys are with pop culture.
Waiver Watch Wating Game. Waiver Watch Wating Game. Waiver Watch Wating Game. Waiver Watch Wating Game.
You guys know that
Waiver
song?
Watch Wating.
No.
It sounds like Weird Al was singing it to me. But.
Yeah, I did.
I think that's a compliment, Rigby. Once you're hearing this, that was an absolute compliment.
Yeah, definitely.
It's a song called "Watermelon Sugar" by Harry Styles.
Oh,
watermelon sugar high. Watermelon
know
sugar high. Yeah, I didn't recognize it at first, but once I heard it, I can't not hear it now.
I mean, Weird Al is the king of parody songs, so if you sound like Weird Al when you're doing a song where you're changing lyrics, that's high praise.
You're doing something right. Well, yeah, that's the Waiver Watch Waiting Game. You guys kind of know the rules, but just real quick recap of them, where we've each got a TV show or a movie that we've got the Rotten Tomatoes critic score of. We're each going to take a shot at guessing it, and I guess lowest score or lowest difference between the actual score, cumulative score, is the winner. So I'm going to start it off here. Last week, I think we were talking about Coen Brothers films. Yeah.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we started talking about the bad ones, and I brought up Burn After Reading.
Mm-hmm.
I did not like it, but I might be, from what I've heard, and every time I say it's awful, everybody just is ready to kill me. So I brought Burn After Reading. I thought that was an interesting score here. So what is the critic score of Burn After Reading?
Oh,
Go
critics?
ahead and- yeah, going critic score. But I do have the audience score as well.
Okay, I'm in.
All right, down.
Summer?
Got it.
Okay. Start with Brian here.
Yeah, I think the critics like this movie more than the audience, if I was guessing. I've got 83.
83.
Hmm.
Okay. And Kitty, I got you next.
I like this movie. I think the whole point was nothing freaking happens for 2 hours. A lot of stuff happens, but ultimately at the end, nothing really happened that mattered to anybody at all. And so I think it's kind of a weird, definitely a weird movie, but I enjoyed it. Thought Clooney was great in it yet again. Shout out to Rance, my boy Clooney, yet again.
That's the third week in a row. We're setting all kinds of weeks here.
So I went with 72.
Okay. Summer?
Yeah, I mean, it is. Kitty's right. It's very Coen Brothers. I mean, all their movies, even when it seems like something does happen, kind of in the end, nothing really happens. Like even the Big Lebowski's like that. I went 65.
65. Okay. Well, good news. Somebody hit it on the head.
Wow.
Oh.
They hit an audience score on the head.
Mm.
The audience gave it a 65.
Oh,
Look at that. He's
Somehow.
he hit the goodness
Coming
gracious.
right out of the gate with
I play along with you guys every single episode. Every
Yeah.
time you guys do, I'm there. I'm usually pretty close to Kitty.
So now,
Not that surprising.
Right, exactly.
So now the point becomes, how did the critics feel about it, and how far off are we on that? And you guys are about in the right wheelhouse here. The critics gave it a 78.
Hmm.
So
You
Brian actually came.
You
really
might not believe
down.
me, but I wrote down 78 first. That's a little too high. I'm
And
gonna
then
go
you chickened
72.
out. Yep.
Oh, damn! We could have double nails, double bullseyes if I had just left myself alone. That's disappointing.
So yeah, that's what. And I was surprised by how many Coen Brothers films that George Clooney is in. He's at like 3 or 4 under. Intolerable Cruelty is a Coen Brothers movie.
Oh,
Yeah, that's the
baby.
one. That's the one everyone basically paints as one of their worst one or worst two. And I actually think that's pretty funny in that
That's
way. I
a
think
good
he's
movie.
It
he's
got a good-
hilarious as a lawyer. Yeah, that's right up your alley right there.
Good movie.
Yeah, so I think it's hilarious. I
Yep.
love that movie. I think it's Clooney, Billy Bob Thornton. Those two would just kill it in that movie.
Yep.
I think the critics loved it, and the audience is like a 44%. On
Yeah,
that.
not surprising.
Yep. Summer, we'll go to you. What's your pick?
All right, so I went with something near and dear to my heart. I'm a big Norm Macdonald guy. So I went with the 1998 smash box office Dirty Work,
Oh no!
starring Norm Macdonald, Artie Lang, with features by Chris Farley and others.
I just watched the Chris Farley doc, and they were talking about all the movies he was doing at the end of his career and how
Yeah.
just off the rails he was in Dirty Work. I completely forgot
Oh my
about
God.
Dirty
That's
Work.
the Saigon whore that bit my nose off.
Wow.
Oh, it's so good.
So yeah, I
well,
went with Dirty Work.
Another great movie.
Yep.
All right, I'm in.
Yep. I'm in.
Sorry, down.
This is critic
Uh,
score, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Brian, you're in. We're actually, yeah, Brian's still in
Yeah.
first place. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going
Lead
first.
off.
I
Yep.
think this is going to be a big difference between critics and audience. I think audiences love it and critics all over it. I give it a Marcus Allen 32.
I think Kitty is next.
Yeah, I wrote down a very similar score for mine. I think I'm the same way. I think the critics just going to think this movie is stupid and not going to like it, which, I mean, I don't disagree that it's stupid, but it doesn't make it's not hilarious.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
but just so many good scenes. Oh, God, I was just thinking about it's the lack of respect that
Lack
hurts
of
the most.
respect.
Well, the other thing hurts the most, but the lack of respect hurts second
It's the
most.
second most.
So I wrote down 34.
Right there with me.
I don't remember this movie very much. I remember watching it and laughing a couple times. I don't understand. I don't think the audience was as high on this as you guys think it was.
Oh, I got another dead whore in the trunk. Look at all
Ever
this
seen
trunk
so many
space.
dead whores?
I love Norm Macdonald as much as the next person, but that movie was trash. Both
Whoa!
audience and
Whoa!
Whoa!
the critics also hated it. I gave it a 15.
Wow.
Oh,
The old
wow, guys,
Mahomes.
going low. Going
Real
low.
low.
I like it.
Well,
Go Bulls.
um, you guys were you were in the right vein. So Kitty and Brian were right. Critics, audience, pretty good. Nobody was even close on audience score. Audience score is 65%.
Wow.
Boom. Good audience. Good audience.
Critics score, however, one of you damn near got it. It was a 17.
Yeah.
Oh,
Josh by 2. Could
Wow.
have given
so
it to the old
close.
Phil Rivers, the Ratchet Flatten.
Yep.
Gosh darn it, Phil Rivers.
The monkey farming. That's my favorite censoring phrase of all time. Was the monkey farming.
I
And
wonder
good
if
one.
that's
when they
probably
do the
like
NFL
problematic.
lip reading, they should not lip read Phil Rivers and just let it be
Oh,
what
no.
he normally says.
Yep.
Right, because it probably
It
is
would
just
fit
for
right in
gosh
with the
darn it.
video.
Dadgummit.
That being said, one of my favorite gifs of all time was the peppermint roll. I love that. That is my favorite gif of all time. Best lip read.
Good job, Josh. 2 points on that. 2 points.
Hey,
off.
let's get
Yeah.
after it here.
What a start for him.
Brian, I got you next on the list.
All right. So, in honor of baseball coming back, let's do Mr. 3000. with Bernie Mac.
God. Oh,
Nice. I
This
love
came
it.
out in theaters in 2004.
Wow.
R.I.P. Bernie Mac.
Killed it in Charlie's Angels too.
Full throttle.
He went full throttle.
Well, full title. Full throttle.
Was he better than Tom Green in the original Charlie's Angels?
There's a part where he's in the construction site and he
I
says
forgot Tom Green was
he's
in
got like
that.
a fake Irish name and the guy's like a black Irishman. He's like, you never heard of a black Irishman? Never heard of a Shamrock Shake McRib? and he just goes full Bernie Mac in that scene, and it is pricelessly
Very
funny.
good.
It is
That is
pricelessly
good.
funny.
Okay, since Josh just started, he's in the lead. So let's start there.
I went. I think Charlie's Angels Full Throttle was trash. Absolutely terrible. I don't think the audience liked it. I don't think the critics liked it.
What are
I
you
think-
talking about? We're
Hold on,
talking
I
about
wanna go-
Mr. 3000.
Oh, you're right.
I
mean, the point-
Angels.
the
full-
He
point
probably
remains.
get it right by doing the wrong movie.
The point remains.
One of those
This-
movies has Cameron Diaz and one does not.
Yeah, she does not do it for me. I'm out on
Go ahead
Cameron
and give
Diaz.
us the Charlie's Angels score.
I mean, it's the
Let's
same
happen.
in
Maybe
my
you'll get it
book.
right.
It's the
Maybe
same
you'll get
in
it
my
right.
book. I went with the Alonzo Mourning 33.
Okay. All right, let's go to Summer next.
I went with a safe 40.
Okay.
Well, I'm right between both these guys, which is not really.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's a
my
place we
chances.
want to be. Look at me
That's
and
not
Summer.
how my
Get it right.
chances.
Let's
Oh,
go.
34 for me. That's just not going to help me now.
That's what you guessed last time.
I know. I think that was a good number. I'll do it again.
Well, as you guys know, I scrambled for a movie right before this one. So when I typed in this movie, I was shocked to see the critic score on this. I expected it to be like Josh bad, like 33.
Oh God.
The critics gave it a 55.
Oh
Whoa.
my God.
Wow.
Just barely rotten. The audience gave it a 30.
Yeah. Yeah.
Big
Yeah.
time
That-
yikes.
I mean, I like cheesy sports movies, and I didn't like it.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't think
I ever
made
saw
it to
it.
the end.
I currently will still watch Rookie of the Year, unironically.
Oh yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah,
Well, that's the one the
100%.
kid owns the Twins, right?
that's
that one?
little big league.
Oh, that's Little Big League. Rookie of the Year is
Big league.
the Cubs pitcher.
Yeah, the Cubs pitcher
You're in rookie of the year.
with
With
Rigman.
Daniel Stern, I am in
Yeah.
Rookie of the Year.
Surprised you
Ice.
didn't know that. You heat up the ice cubes.
It's best of both worlds.
Got quite a ball game here going on. Very good one so far.
All right.
Going down to Kitty for bringing us home here.
I decided I didn't know what to do, where to go, so I went with a comedy just to test one out, and I went with the original Hot Shots. Oh, Charlie Sheen. Little send up of all the
91.
yeah, right around there, maybe earlier, right around there, but right a little send up of Top Gun with little Hot
Let's
Shots.
just crush it. Like, this is such a great four grouping of movies for this damn game.
91 is probably Hot Shots Part 2.
That's probably true. God, it was so funny. The original's so funny. So funny.
So
I still like the second one a lot.
I don't know who's in the lead here, so
I think it was me.
Brian is.
Yeah, probably.
BK Dillon. All right. So
Okay, this is one critics usually shit all over, but I think everyone had to laugh at this. There's still going to be some haters out there. So I'm going to say Barely Fresh at 67.
67. All right.
That's
think it's
probably
me.
way off.
I was in the same vein. I was in the exact same vein. You said Barely Fresh. I was like, oh, we might have the same score. I said 62.
I am substantially lower. I went with Jordan Return, 45.
All right. Well, BK and Josh almost hit the audience score, which was 65.
Pretty good.
Audience should be like
Audience
85.
score was 65,
Audience needs to be
Which-
way up on that.
which I think makes this next score even more surprising, where the critics went with 83.
What? Holy moly.
83 on Hot Shots.
What?
Those numbers should have been switched. I
Even the
don't really
critics
think
were
it's
doing
happening.
coke in the 80s.
Yeah. Just an insane result for that
That'd
match.
be the biggest shock ever on this segment.
Yeah, absolutely.
3.
83.
Just amazing that they got to that number.
Wow.
Incredible.
Huh.
So I don't know who won because I wasn't.
Not
This
me.
guy,
I did not win. I had 50
36.
total points.
Brian's at 36. I was at 45. Kitty was at 44. You're
Yep.
right
I thought I
there.
had 50.
I was in real good
never
shape
mind.
until Hot Shots. Real good shape until Hot Shots.
I was hoping you guys were going to go lower on Hot Shots if I was going to be way behind at that point and
I
get
got
get some good
38 points on just Hot Shots.
Just Hot Shots. Yeah.
Which I mean, normally like those movies were just a spoof movie. They just don't. Usually they just don't like them.
100%.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Crazy number to me.
All right.
That was a
Good
good
week.
round. Damn. Hot Shots. Who'd have thunk?
Really
I
not
wouldn't. I wouldn't have thunk it.
Was that because the critics that were rating it back in the day just actually understood funny things should be treated accordingly? And
I mean,
now
you're
it's
coming
like,
off of like
you're
I
not
got
Mel
to think of some
Brooks
of that.
and
A lot of
Naked
those
Gun.
spoof movies were coming together. There were still a bunch of spoof movies that was a kind of real big genre in that era. So I
Yeah,
think they probably
Stage
still
and-
respected them.
Spies Like Us and
Yeah.
Airplane.
Yeah,
critics
Mel
had a
Brooks.
sense of humor back then.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's totally gone now.
it's gone.
Totally gone.
It is gone. So yeah, let's get into the waiver wire for the week. Got a good one lined up for you, but we have to start it off with the usual.
Watch your waiver wire. What will the first pick be?
Man, just crushing that guitar riff too.
I'm very
that
proud
is
of that
just-
one.
Shred.
That's an impressive get to get the lead singer to record a little soundbite for us.
Yeah,
I am very, very proud of that one.
A good one.
as you should be. I think that was the first one you ever sent us too.
It was. I was just feeling it. I went out and smoked a pack of Luckies, came back in, and just got up on the mic real grit like,
Uh-huh. You're just power reading the Bible the whole time too.
Yeah. No, the reality is Josh and I both have a mutual friend who looks exactly like Scott Stapp.
Oh yeah.
And at one point he even had his hair that way. And so it just became, it was such a running joke that like I've just done that so many times just to make fun of him.
Yeah.
Right.
I
The
can't
voice is
help it.
ready.
Yeah, I can't help it.
Impressions ready to go. And Jacob, shout out to Jacob.
Yeah.
If you can picture a 6'7" tall Scott Stapp in a diaper, he was a baby for a Halloween, and it was
Oh God.
the funniest thing I think I've ever seen.
Shaved
in my
his
life.
head and
Yeah.
left the curly Q in front.
Yep.
Wow.
Directed traffic at the
Wow.
bottom of the
That's
street where all the bars are. The police still tell that story.
Yeah,
That's hilarious.
I came home from work and everybody was already partying at the house, and he was talking to the cops with a baby rattle and a diaper, and one cop is out front like talking to him, and the other one's doubled over just losing his shit at the back of the car. It was one of those lucid, very vivid memories of mine. So shout out Jacob. We
Funniest things of all time.
we love you. So for this waiver wire this week, we had a Sink Pisser submission that we need to do our broadcast team draft. So we're all going to draft kind of similar as like our favorite meals. We all had different elements of the meal that we were drafting. You can draft them in any order, but we have the play-by-play, we have the color commentary, the field reporter, and the insider, the sports insider. So anybody can go in any order that they want to, and go with it that way. The poll for this last week, we had zoo animals, and a lot of people wanted to go to Rance's zoo, which he had the classic animals on there, so it makes a lot of sense. He had a good draft, and naturally he isn't able to come take his first overall. So
That's so perfect.
it might be the most clearing waivers moment that we've had since starting this Clearing Waivers podcast. But in his stead, I'm gonna be giving Summer the 101 pick. I came up second in the draft, and I believe that both Brian and Kitty came up with no votes.
Oh, bullshit.
Ooh.
Oh, I had votes on Facebook.
Oh, I had Facebook vote too.
Get out of here with
Make
this
me look at
nonsense.
this
No
live.
votes.
God.
People love sea lions. What are you talking about?
I mean, sea lions are damn fine.
And baboon asses.
And shit and hippos.
Shit.
I'd be real
Yep.
pissed if you guys actually didn't get any votes and I had to go and look at this.
Oh,
I know I
saw-
had votes on and voted for me. I know that much.
Brian got 2 votes, and Kitty did get 1. Yep, but that doesn't change the draft order. So it's going to be Adam, then me, then Brian, then Kitty. So Adam, go ahead and take it away with your number 1 overall pick.
So I'm gonna take my color commentator, and
Before you make that pick, I need to do a caveat. This can be real or fictional.
yes.
I need to make that clear because I do have some fictional people on my draft board.
So
So
I didn't even think about
Shocker.
that. Was oversight on my oversight yet again. I always forget about the fictional.
yep.
Yeah,
Fictional.
I've got some fictional guys too.
Okay.
My
Players
first one is
in
not.
the
My first
landscape.
one is real because it doesn't have to be one of his characters because he could drop in at any time. For my color commentator, I want Dave Chappelle.
Yeah, it's not bad. He's probably got something to say about just about everything except for when Kanye puts him on the spot.
Right, right.
That was perfect.
Say a joke,
love
funny
that part.
man.
Make us laugh in the time. He's like, I don't know, man. Can I leave yet?
That was
Really
hilarious.
But he would
That's
always
so
have
good.
something different to say about what's going on. I think it'd be a riot.
And that kind of goes in the vein of Dennis Miller back in the Monday Night Football games where he'd always have something, whether it was funny or not, kind of like myself. Like I always have probably a quip that I'm going to throw out there, and it's not going to land at all times, but I'm going to give it a
Hey.
damn good shot.
Doesn't he? It probably wouldn't even be about sports. He's probably just tracking observation jokes the entire time and not giving you
your shot.
But he'd have some dope stories about hanging out with these guys at the strip club.
Yeah.
I remember being
Listen
10
to
years
that.
old and being like, what is he talking about?
His references that only like 3 people got to.
Yep.
Dennis Miller's wild times.
Such a weird pick, but man, I mean, it was something. So Dave Chappelle.
Dave Chappelle.
I like
Not
it.
bad. Yep. I'm going to go with my first pick, and I got to go with a real person, and he's the best play-by-play guy in the business, Kevin Harlan. Give me Kevin Harlan on my play-by-play. I think he can call any game, but even if a drunk streaker is racing down the sideline, he's going to call it, and I love it. So give me Kevin Harlan on my number one pick.
He's great. He's He does, yeah, because he is in every sport. He's out there.
Yep.
You'll see him on NFL Sundays. You'll hear him at NBA games. Hear him everywhere. I don't know if I've heard him do a baseball game yet, but that's probably one of the easier ones to do.
Yep. If he's making blowouts in San Francisco fun to watch, then he's going to make a baseball game fun to watch.
Exactly.
It's funny you should mention that, Josh, because my number one pick is going to be a play-by-play guy too, and that's going to be Harry Doyle from Major League. And you want to talk about a guy that can make blowouts interesting, him getting drunk on whiskey and doing play-by-play. I would just love that if my team had Harry Doyle calling games, because those dog days of summer, they would be almost more must-see than the opening day. So give me Harry Doyle play-by-play.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that game in Cleveland on Sunday with the Royals, that would have been a perfect Harry Doyle game.
Yeah, it would have been.
Your Sunday afternoon game, he would have been hammered. Or hung over and then hair of the dog hammered. I like Harry Doyle was on my board for sure. Kitty.
All right. So I'm going to go with basically the real life Harry Doyle, and I'm taking Harry Carey. Drunk for a lot of games towards the end of his career. And that was me. I'd run home from school, catch the last couple innings of a Cubs game on WGN every day. Listen to Harry Carey just scream about someone losing the ball in the sun or something else. Just great times. So, loved Harry Carey. I mean, and also he was the ultimate homer. Like he didn't care. You knew he was rooting for the Cubs every game.
WGN was such a weird thing because it was a nationally syndicated network, but the people doing the games were clearly locals, so it's kind of like a weird gray area in and of itself.
Right. I wish more teams would have.
Hell yes.
Way more homer broadcasting teams.
Yep.
Just root for your team. I mean, what does it matter? You don't have to be impartial. If the team pays you, basically, I'd assume. Or don't they? They always get rings, don't they? When the team wins, announcers get rings. So I mean, this is your team. You should be impartial as can be. Or not impartial.
They have
not impartial. Just go after it.
If they have like World Series bonuses and stuff, or that they just get a little piece of the pie of the playoff revenue.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. It's a good question.
The Cards guys are like that. They're all in.
Yeah.
Good. Should be.
Kitty, back to you on the turn.
All right, I'm going to take another crazy bastard for my next pick. And for color commentary, I'm taking Bill Walton. I love Bill Walton because he does not ever talk about the game he's watching. It is hilarious. And I also enjoy how much everyone hates him. Just, they can, every game he does. Oh, would you talk about basketball? Like, if you listen to any other broadcast team, very few guys actually give you any good info as the color commentator. They just say dumb crap that gives you no insight to actually the game or how they're playing defense, how the team's playing offense, or anything. It's just hear themselves talk. So
Grateful Dead
concert hear someone
story.
Talk.
Right.
I'm getting me. Give me some Bill Walton stories. I'm ready to go. Harry Carey and Bill Walton. That's a booth right there for you.
That is a booth under the influences I've ever heard one.
That would be entertaining for sure.
God, give me Harry Carey on some jazz cigarettes, and I am very interested in that broadcast.
Jazz cigarettes. Wow.
What year is this?
I don't know about that one.
Maybe you can take a shower after that reference. Brian, back to you.
But you are right about Bill Walton. People either love him or hate him. There's no in between. So Kitty's on team love. I'm actually going to go
shocker knowing Kitty's extracurriculars.
Maybe out of order of everyone else. I'm going to go – I got to get my number one field reporter.
Oh, damn it.
It may not be who you're going for.
I know it is.
It's Pat McAfee, Josh.
It is. It 100% is.
We only got a tease of him doing XFL games. If we got him doing that at the NFL with how many connections he has, like guys actually, like him, he's a funny guy. They'll actually give him stuff. And so him throwing it back and forth to Harry Doyle, I mean, it's what dreams are made of.
I also enjoyed him jumping off the boat on ASU College Game Day. I mean, he's a crazy bastard, so he'll do whatever it takes to get anything he needs.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and like you said, people, if he's doing NFL games, they'll talk to him. He's a former player. They're ready to go.
100%. Yep. I mean, he just had Rex Ryan on last week. You regularly, I mean, he has guys coming in and out of that place. Pat McAfee is on my man crush list for the record. I
Yeah.
love Pat McAfee.
Yep.
And he was number one on my field reporter list. He almost got he asked the wrong question of the wrong dude, and he almost got into a fight on the sideline for what he was asking. Which is
He can hold his own. He's a big strong
Absolutely.
boy.
absolutely he
With
wants
a
to be a
strong leg.
wrestler.
Yep. God, I'm
Good-
glad I got him right in front of
Good
you.
pick.
Then.
Yeah, that's tough.
He was not making it back to you, and there's no chance.
Nope. I was
That's a good pick.
consciously thinking like, all right, if I can just get past this, then I don't think Summer's gonna have Pat McAfee on his radar, so I can probably go for another. Nope.
I did not.
No.
It's like you should have taken McAfee 1.2, let your play-by-play guy make it around.
Nope. I don't know if Harlem was gonna make it around, but whatever. I got Justin Timberlake on my man crush team, so this is revenge. I guess the big one I need to go for is the undefeated insider. He's got a wrap on just an absolute stranglehold on his market, and that's Woj. No other NBA insiders are out there, and even close to the same level as Woj. He's got his finger on the pulse of everything NBA. He's going to do that for my sport, whatever it's going to be. He's going to go devoted, and he's going to be the guy. So give me Woj for my insider.
Plus,
My
he's
response
dropping
to that-
F-bombs to congresspersons.
Yeah,
Like my response,
Gotta love it.
certainly
Yeah.
got the same energy as a Clearing Waivers podcast. So
He brought it, man.
He's got me nailed.
So we're back
Summer's
to
up.
Summer. Yep.
Okay.
Great.
I'll take my field reporter, and I am going to take Borat. Just Borat on the sidelines with the microphone. What is display? And to get the ball from quarterback, you have touches. You touch his
so
peen.
good.
That's great outside the box.
Just pissing off these total meathead football players on the sidelines. You want to talk about starting a fight?
Yeah, it'll be just like the guys that were at the RV in the movie.
Yeah,
Borat.
for
That's
the
it.
RV guys.
Oh God.
That over and over again, that was hilarious.
Well, there's
So,
that
yeah,
scene at the end of the
give
movie,
me lots
and
of that.
it might even be an outtake where he's like in the supermarket with the manager, and he's just going down the dairy aisle and he's just going, and the what is this? And the manager's like, that's cheese. And the this, that's cheese. And the what is a this? That's cheese. And it's like 3 or 4 minutes of just that. It's so funny.
That's a great pick.
So that's my field
really
reporter.
good.
And then my play-by-play is where I'm going next. And I'm going to complete my booth with Dave Chappelle, and with him is going to be on the play-by-play, Gary Busey.
Oh God.
My God.
That's
I don't think anyone's gonna know what game they're watching.
Right.
He might
Well,
not.
in all fairness, a Bill Walton cult game is also not really. They're not going to know.
You've got Harry Carey there to reel him in.
Hey, but Bill Walton knows the scoring system of the game he's watching.
That's
True. That's a great point.
Yeah, Gary Busey and Dave Chappelle. That's because Busey could go off and Chappelle be like,
What?
you'll get some good stuff out of Chappelle by pairing him with Busey, I think.
Interesting.
Oh yeah.
I would agree.
That's very interesting.
He threw a touchdown
Mm.
to the power forward.
Was that just a pick just so you can get your Busey impression
yeah.
back in?
It might be.
And,
You're
well, I
putting
mean,
Busey in here?
you got to do a Busey if you have a chance.
That's fine. I mean, anytime you have an opportunity, I'm totally for it.
Also, I just thought he would be funny at that spot.
Oh, for sure.
I think Gary Busey's in play for almost all of our waiver wire
Oh,
drafts.
for sure.
He's got to be. He's got to be.
No matter what the category is, Busey's
Best meal.
in play.
Put a little Busey on the side.
He's gonna be entertaining regardless.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Man crush draft.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, easily. Those fucking chompers.
Zoo animal?
Yeah, he's
Hey,
Probably there.
Close.
Probably there. I'm gonna go with my next pick for a field reporter as well because I've only got a color commentary spot to fill after this, and I don't think this guy's on your radar. So my field reporter is going to be the PMT crew, Big Cat and PFT commenter. I think those dudes can get just about anything out of a player just by making them comfortable, and they can also poke fun at guys that just are in on the joke. So I would love to have the broadcast and them on the field interviewing guys in real time.
Oh, yeah.
Mm.
Strong
Could be
pick.
good.
Took away my insider pick. I was going to take PFT.
Leroy the dog.
I have Leroy on my
Yeah.
insider on my insider board. Back
All
to
right.
Brian.
God, I'm just getting these picks just fall into my laps, Josh. I thought you might take it. My dream color commentary guy is Mr. Untouchable. Everyone's just want to throw money at him to do this job, and he's just like, nah. Peyton Manning
Yep.
Yeah,
is
that's a
both
good one.
knowledgeable and low-key hilarious.
Yep.
Like, he can crack some great jokes. Him being on Saturday Night Live, if you didn't see those skits, go back and look at them on YouTube. Him playing football with the little kids and just berating them
All-time.
and drilling them in the head is an
All-time
all-timer.
Yep.
They can't give him enough money to get in the booth, and he's just
Mhm.
kind of passing on it. So if he's that valuable, which I think he is, I love having him with my third pick, mixing him Harry Doyle and Pat McAfee. God, you guys are in trouble next week on the poll.
What a list. That's pretty solid. So it's pretty football heavy though.
Yeah, it is.
All right.
Peyton knows all sports.
Does he?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right. Kitty.
All right.
Fourth pick.
So I have insider and field reporter left. For the insider, I'm taking a guy, which I'm hoping he's going to bring one of his partners with him. I'm going to take Greg Rosenthal, hoping I get a side of Anthony Jeselnik. So I love the Jeselnik and Rosenthal Vanity Project. JRVP. Just so
Junior
good.
Vice President.
Thanks for finishing that one off, Josh. Appreciate it. Yeah, those guys. It's supposed to be a sports podcast. It is.
Right.
Just Jeselnik and Rosenthal recapping their shenanigans throughout the week
Shooting the
and
shit,
whatever
yeah.
else. Former stories from being college roommates at Tulane. Always some good stories from back in the day. So I'm taking Rosenthal, hoping Jeselnik comes with him.
Didn't they release an entire episode where it was just touchdown, Air Bud on loop?
No, it was they looped
song.
they got to the theme song would just run, and it got to about, usually it would get to like 12 seconds, and that's when they would kick into a different noise, and then they'd start, and it just looped 12 seconds every 12 seconds for 45 minutes.
I spent a good 6 minutes listening to that. See if it
Yeah,
ever came out.
I went for like 4, and then I just started hitting that fast forward button for like
Yep.
8 minutes. Fast forward
Still
button.
there. Yeah.
Okay. They're not doing anything. This is amazing. It's so good. Well, the most recent thing they did was on their last episode of season 1 of when they changed to Comedy Central. They did their favorite moments from the season. And they had different categories of favorite moment, but every favorite moment was the same story. So they would play They played the sound clip of Jeselnik telling a story about horses dying at Santa Anita or something.
That's
They just
right.
ran it. They just ran that same. They just recapped that one 6 more times. It was so good.
It's a great podcast.
So the goal is to get Jeselnik as the insider with Rosenthal.
Okay.
Tricky.
That's going to be a good one.
Let's see. Field reporter. I had no idea. I'll just go with the 1A with Aaron Andrews. Everyone likes Aaron Andrews, so I'll just take her as my field reporter. Keep it easy.
Yep.
I mean, she
Even
is
though
the
I just
goat.
think
She
I
is
just-
a goat. Yep.
field reporters are so. Unless you're interviewing Greg Popovich, you're not getting much out of,
Right.
of the coach, which is the only problem with the field reporting
Yep.
for the most part. Which is why the XFL stuff was nice, because they were talking to players, lots more access, and so
Yep.
made it a little more interesting to have someone down there.
RIP XFL.
It'll be back. There's got to be a third version in 2030.
Yeah, it'll just be a while.
Well, they just did a lot of things that were progressive and seemed very entertaining. So
Mhm.
Right,
I
just try
hope
something
that
new.
at least the NFL will at least pull some of those in and incorporate them. But who the hell knows at this point? They've kind of got a good thing going already. They don't necessarily need to fuck with it.
Right. True.
Back to Brian for his final pick.
Okay, I'm going insider, the only one I have left. I'm going fictional character because I want my insider to be Buddy Garrity from Friday Night Lights.
Oh.
The guy loves gossip. He's got so many connections, and he knows all the shit going on with the other team, and he can tell you the bullshit that's going on so you can expose them. I mean, the guy would be a perfect insider. He's
Unbelievable.
He loves to talk.
Oh. He knows
Yeah.
everything about high school football in Texas.
Oh,
Everything. He was one of the best characters. He was so good. Oh my God, so good. Every time he came on screen, it was just gonna be 3 minutes of awesome.
I mean,
One
he
of those
always
pissed
tried
off
being an
coach.
insider for Coach, and Coach would always just kind of roll his eyes about it.
Yeah.
Those interactions were key. Just Coach is constantly being annoyed by Buddy Garrity.
Yep.
Interesting.
Here you go, Josh. What do you
What
got?
do you got there? I've got to fill my color commentary spot. And one of my favorite color commentarians, commenters, I don't know, was Pepper Brooks from Dodgeball. Jason
That's a good
Bateman.
one.
F&A Cotton.
A very good one.
F&A.
That's so good.
YouTube's got
Town
a
population, you bro.
I sure do love pumpkins. There's a video on YouTube that's got all the Pepper, and I can't remember what the awesome name was for the other commenter, but they got a 3-minute video of their best one-liners, and it's so good, so good.
Well, if they don't get another player, they'll have to forfeit. We'll see how it works out for them.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. The duo of Kevin Harlan and Pepper Brooks. So you got Kevin Harlan coming off of he's trying to feed off of Pepper Brooks, who is basically Rex Hudler if he were an X Games commentator.
Yeah, commentator.
That's the energy that's playing off. I think that's a dynamite combo, no matter what the sport is.
I like that a
Pretty
lot.
good.
Yep.
Back to Summer to round us out here.
Okay, so I think he counts as an insider because he was a news sports guy, and those guys always have to have their connections, at least to the local team. So I got to go with the one and only from Channel 4 News in San Diego, Brian Fantana, the Bry guy, the cool guy in the bunch. It was played by Paul Rudd.
That's not bad at all. He's the one willing to go the deepest, obviously.
No one with the style in the group.
Yep.
That's right. He's out there interviewing panda bears.
Get out of here,
He's
you
out
panda jerk.
I cannot remember. I can't ever forget laughing so hard watching it in the theater when he comes up for the thing. There's Panda Watch. It's so damn funny. Oh, it's so damn funny.
That's a great one.
Yeah, I mean, he works 60% of the time every time. So.
Every time. Yep.
Yeah, I remember being in the theater for that one, and it was pretty packed, and I felt like Shetman and I were the only two laughing for the most of the movie.
Huh. Too bad. The theater, I watched it, and someone legitimately fell out of their seat into the aisle.
I think a lot of people had to see that one again because it was just
Could
so
be.
just with the
Yep.
jokes.
Rapid fire, for sure.
Hmm.
And then Anchorman 2 happened.
We don't talk about
that.
Anchorman 2.
Yeah.
It's too
I
bad.
don't think I even tried to watch
I
that
still,
one.
I
Don't
still
do
haven't
that.
seen it.
Don't do that. Don't do that to any of us, including yourself.
No.
I'm very curious to see how this poll works out because I think we've
Yeah,
got some
that's a-
dynamite teams to cover our sports.
Those are some good teams.
So yeah, we'll post that poll on our Twitter feed at Clearing Waivers and also in the Facebook group. If you haven't joined us there, definitely do so. It's a lot of fun to kind of interact with you guys. Let us know what we left out. We do that weekly, if I remember. Most of the time I remember, but there are some things that kind of fall through the cracks there. But always a good time to kind of talk to the Sink Pisters about what we should have drafted and what we kind of missed. But in reality, it's meaningless in and of itself. Such as with that, let's go to the waiver watch.
Yeah, I've been watching paint dry for a while. There's nothing matters in life, apparently.
It's got to be something I've never seen. The Waiver Watch.
Just realizing there's going to be a Hamilton reference every time we do the waiver watch. Now that's the thing. So, Summer, you might need to go ahead for Kitty and Brian and Rance's sake. Try to get us a new waiver watch drop whenever you can.
I did it just for you, Josh.
Yep, I appreciate it, and I loved it. I appreciated it
I'm
fully.
surprised you're even asking for another one. I think you like it so much. Why would you even change that thing?
Well, we don't really hate it because it's not crappy rap like Kitty always references.
What are you talking about?
Go ahead and make a Beastie Boys song over as for
Oh,
Kitty.
that's
So
what
he
I'll
can
do.
go.
I'll make one.
That
I'll
sounds
get right on that.
awesome.
I mean, waiver watch. It's right there. I mean, it's in the name. It's basically already a Beastie Boys rap.
You'll sound just as good as they do.
Yep, true. You need to yell a little bit more.
Oh yeah, I'll get on the mic on that one.
Yeah.
On it.
So the waiver watch this week. Summer. I'm gonna have you lead this one off too. So what was your waiver watch this week?
So my wife and I have currently been watching Shameless. We had never watched it before.
Oh, yeah.
The old Showtime show there with William H. Macy and a bunch of people. Great show. Awesome. You know, it's funny. It's kind of gritty and real, and the writing's good. The acting's good. And it's, it's got nudity. But the nudity fits the plot line, so it doesn't. You don't feel like you shouldn't be watching it. So it's it's a good
shame when you're done.
Yeah, it's a good show, and it's got like 10 seasons. They just dropped the 10th season on Netflix, and it's just solid.
We have not seen the last season, but yeah, the last round delivered. We binge watched it with the first kid, and we got second kid on the way. So man, it's probably on the agenda.
I think the new season just like yesterday or whatever dropped.
Just hit. That's the first one without Emmy Rossum.
Okay.
Be curious to see how that goes. With Shameless, yes, definitely recommend going and checking that out for sure.
And it's on Netflix right now, so.
Yep.
There you
You
go.
probably got Netflix. Brian, let's go to you.
So Monday morning when the world was burning and I told you guys I just had to turn my phone off. I couldn't be on Twitter anymore, and I couldn't resist the urge to click Twitter and just see if I had to get away. I'm scrambling. I'm looking through the movie channels, and I see that on HBO, Ford v. Ferrari's playing. So I'm like, yes, please. This is supposed to be good. I can not listen to sports. I don't have to pay attention to the bullshit going on. And so I watched it. It's 2.5 hours long. It's a star-studded cast with Matt Damon, Christian Bale, John Bernthal, Josh Lucas, more. So basically what this movie is about is in the 60s, Ford tried to get into the racing game. And this focuses on Le Mans, which is a worldwide famous race where they race for 24 hours in one car. And drivers just have a team of 2 drivers, and they switch off for like 6-hour shifts, I think. And so Ford basically jumps all in with the racing out of nowhere to get in this to go against Ferrari, because there's they kind of show the tale of how Ferrari and Ford become rivals out of nowhere.
Yep.
And
seems like a kind of out of place rivalry for sure.
Right, exactly. And Christian Bale's character is Ken Miles, and he's a British dude that's living in the States as a mechanic and stuff. And Matt Damon plays Carroll Shelby, which was a famous car designer, and they kind of team up to create this team and car to take on
the
Ferrari.
Ford GT 500.
Yep. So I would highly recommend it, though. You don't have to be a race fan to enjoy it. It's more about the characters and storyline and stuff. So check it out if you got HBO. It's on demand. So thumbs up.
2.5 hours. It's not. I mean, you don't feel like it's 2.5 hours, and that's tough to do.
Right. Yeah, I agree with that. And I secretly kind of love the rivalry they showed between the two. The Ford guy and the Ferrari guy. They
do a good job. It's very similar to the us against Schlansky type of mentality that we kind of got going on. But it does a good job of getting you invested in that rivalry for sure.
Yeah.
And there's a good rivalry between the driver designer against the owner themselves, against Henry Ford II. So, I mean, I enjoyed that dynamic back and forth too. Going back and forth with Josh Lucas, which I haven't seen him in a lot of stuff in a while. So he was a nice character in there too.
Yep. Yeah, I'd recommend that as well. Kitty?
After last week's recommendation of Bone Tomahawk. I had a sink pisser. Well, AJ reach out to me and say I should probably watch that guy's next movie, which was Brawl in Cell Block 99.
God.
Got Vince Vaughn plays this
yeah.
guy who's kind of down on his luck in the beginning of the movie, and he decides to reach out to his old buddy of his, where he just starts delivering packages from one person to another, as he puts it. Just try to keep himself. Just don't worry about what you're doing. Just do it. He's just a courier.
Everybody likes the mailman.
Everyone likes the mailman and getting packages in the mail, so we're good.
Yeah, everybody loves
So then
that.
it kind of goes from there, and a deal goes wrong, and he ends up in jail, and it just kind of goes from there, where he's trying to
Escape from cell block
save
99.
him. He's trying to save his family by doing deeds for people on the inside, and it is brutal hand-to-hand combat scenes.
Really?
Just brutal.
Huh.
If you don't like the sound of bones crunching, don't watch this movie. I'll give you that. There's a warning right there for you, people.
Wow.
It's insane. I mean, it's filmed great. I mean, it's just a phenomenal movie, but it's brutal.
You said the same thing about Bone Tomahawk, about it being super.
Yeah,
cool.
this one's actually worse.
Yes.
Wow.
This one ramps it up a little bit more.
The
What's
sounds.
that on?
The sounds. Yeah, it was on Amazon Prime.
Okay. I was just about to turn Bone Tomahawk on, but I turned my Waiver Watch on instead. I'm gonna definitely check out, I guess, both of those, because I also heard that it's a pretty solid movie.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those where, like, okay, Vince Vaughn, sure, but he delivers as a tough guy.
Nice. Okay.
So I think he needs to take over now that Liam Neeson's a little older. Let's get Vince Vaughn and all those Liam Neeson roles.
Ooh, that's
I'm
interesting.
in for that.
So we've tried to replace James Bond on this podcast with the usual pick, but now we're trying to replace Liam Neeson in the Taken series.
We're now like, yeah, Taken 4. It's Vince Vaughn's turn.
That's straight to DVD, 100%. I'm gonna go with my Waiver Watch. Me and the wife we were struggling trying to find things that we both enjoyed, and we finally did find one. Brian, I'm kind of surprised. I feel like you're going to do this eventually, but we watched Indian Matchmaking on Netflix. It's basically like these Indian folks are trying to get set up. They're trying to find their ideal match. They use a matchmaker, and it feels a lot like they're going to a realtor trying to buy a house, because they have a list of criteria and needs and wants, and that's what it kind of feels like. But at the same time, they're trying to find someone that they're going to spend the rest of their life with, which is really, really cool. They follow a bunch of random people, and they kind of introduce people as they go, and they do a really good job of like being like an interesting look at marriage and love, and kind of how Western people like ourselves kind of view marriage in and of itself, whereas these are almost halfway arranged. They have a matchmaker. They do have that like meet and greet where like they do date, but once they find out like, yeah, I think you're it, they're married in like 2 weeks. It's like a really, really quick thing. At least the couples that did get married on that were that quick. But they also do a really good job of like the reality TV show of like, there's going to be some people that you're rooting for, and there's going to be some people that you hate 100%. So I thought it was really interesting. Sarah, my wife, also really liked it. So I would highly recommend Indian Matchmaking on Netflix.
Oh, we'll be in immediately.
I figured it is very good.
Plus, then you'll be ready for the spinoff when they do the Fixer Upper version. So,
Yeah.
Do they do Indian Trophy Wife?
There are some on there for
that's
sure.
the House
There
Flippers
you go.
one. Yeah, it's like
Nice.
It's also interesting to see like the matchmakers, like I think they're good for this person, but I don't think they're good for this person. And I think it's interesting to see why. So yeah, I'd highly suggest checking an Indian Matchmaking out on Netflix. But
I hope they have a better batting average than Married at First Sight,
yeah,
because those guys suck at matchmaking.
yes. Yep.
That's what they're doing too. Like they're supposedly matchmaking behind the scenes, and then they meet some of these people together. And this is supposed to be compatible, and people.
Yeah.
Well, if with the Indian Matchmaking, they at least like meet and they go on a couple dates beforehand.
Mhm.
Whereas Married at First Sight is what it is. It's like and they pick the worst people. Like
They're so bad.
going into it, you're like, no, get
will never work.
them out of here. Like this concept is terrible, but then you can get gullible people to be like, I want to be in love so badly, and you can. I guarantee you give me 200 people, I can go match up. I can go find the 10 most gullible ones, match them up with the other 10 most gullible ones, and I will be 100% batting average, guaranteed.
Yep.
Well, it's kind of like
they are
find a
all
way to
people
mess up.
willing to go on the show.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
there's an underlying stupidity that.
was kind of like that season of The Bachelor with Chris Soules, like the farmer from Iowa.
Yep.
And every single person that they picked, except for maybe one, was from a huge city.
Yes.
Why the fuck would they leave a big city to go live in a goddamn farm in Iowa? That is so stupid. I mean, come on. So that was just like that whole thing was just so dumb too.
Set up for failure.
Yeah, exactly.
Reality TV show. It's not going anywhere. But
I'll keep them coming.
yeah,
Oh yeah.
it's certainly always going to come up on the waiver watch, guaranteed. Also, 100 batting average for sure.
It's got to be pretty close.
So with that, we do want to thank all the Sync Pisters out there for joining us. If this is your first time, we want to appreciate you too. Come be part of our group. Be part of our supporters here with the Sync Pisters. We appreciate everybody, all their time that they've spent with us. But if you haven't already, like I said, go check us out on the Facebook, on the Twitter, Instagram. We're all on there at Clearing Waivers. We're going to start doing our live premieres on YouTube. We got a YouTube channel that also allows us to kind of watch it with you and kind of comment live as we kind of go forward. And we're going to do those at the same time, 7:30 at YouTube. We'll kind of throw some links out there for everybody to kind of find pretty easily. But otherwise, check us out on all the audio podcast forms that you wherever you get your podcast from. We're also going to have that episode is going to premiere live at 7:30 on Wednesdays, and then it's going to be available after that. But if you want to watch it with us, kind of comment along with us, tell us why we're stupid and what we left out on some of these things, definitely give us a glance at those live premieres. But with that, I want to thank Brian and Kitty for joining us again. Summer, thanks for joining us. We will we'll certainly be keeping tags on the Heartland Pod. Go give them a subscribe and a like and a review. Very good stuff on there. Very thought-provoking things in a time where, everything is political, legitimately. So everybody's got an interest in politics at this point, whether you think it or not. So go check out the Heartland Pod. Very neutral. Very well. I won't say very. You do have your biases, but I think they're well-founded. It's certainly about the person, like the case-by-case basis, more than a partisanship thing.
That's
so.
right.
Definitely go check them out, get a subscribe on them, and give them a follow as well. But for that, we'll see you next week. Ta-ta for now.
The day is done. Now the night has begun. Nerves in a restless crowd. The burning sun. Now nowhere to be found. Deeper underground. 'Cause I have faith that nobody else can protect you, no. A page is burning, we'll all be dead under virgin snow. I have faith that nobody else can protect you, no. A page is burning, we'll all be dead under virgin snow. So hold your body close to the flames. Don't go